Hi everyone, I'm Terese. I'm an RN for the last 25 years and have been a health coach for the last few years. I have had lupus and fibromyalgia for 24 years. I became a health coach because back in 2013, I had a health crisis that landed me in the hospital for the entire summer. My ionized calcium was 17.9, highest they ever saw in that ER there. It has never been found out what attributed to that health crisis, but I do believe that it was from my lupus, even though it was never proven. In that time, they asked my family not to leave a couple times because they didn't think I was going to make it. By the grace of God, I did, and I'm here. And I was very weak when I left the hospital. My family had to take care of me. I needed to build up strength, and they gave me a vacation from my meds. In that time, I researched online about nutrition and how it can heal us, which I do believe it can. I learned about all different foods, all different ways of living, different alternative exercise and movement. So I did those things and it made me stronger. And I want to share with you some of the things that I have learned because I feel like it's not readily available or taught to us in the regular medical world. And I think that nutrition is very important for us when we are going through this journey, autoimmune journey. I believe that it also can help us when we're in flares, to help us to be stronger and to make the most of what we can during the time of a flare when we're weak, when we're so sick, and to get us back up on our feet. So a few of the things that I want to talk to you about today are anti-inflammatory diet, which a lot of people seem to try and be on. A lot of people try elimination diet first, which requires you to eliminate a few things at a time, such as gluten, dairy. I am gluten free and very limited on my dairy. It doesn't work for everyone. Some people feel good on it and some people don't. So being that we are bio individuals, we need to try different things, eliminate different things, see what works for us. One thing that works for us may not work for somebody else. So that's what we need to do. It's trial and error. So some of the things I wanted to talk to you about were anti-inflammatory foods, because instead of just being on the anti-inflammatory protocol diet, I think it needs to be more of a lifestyle and not to look at it as a diet. It's just a way of eating for yourself to give you more strength and to support your immunity along the way, decrease inflammation as much as we can, because inflammation has been shown to be the cause of every disease that there is. Anywhere from cancer, heart disease, autoimmune disease, endocrine disorders, it all stems from inflammation. And another thing which I know that you've already learned about recently with an upload in this Facebook group was gut health and how important that is to our overall well-being and our health, to help us be balanced. If our gut is balanced, then the rest of our body can be balanced. And most things that if our gut is not balanced, causes so many things in our body. So even with the gut balance comes in the anti-inflammatory foods, herbs, oils, teas, even some desserts such as dark chocolate. So one thing I do want to mention that I recently just found is that one thing that we need to avoid, especially people with lupus, is alfalfa, which I always ate alfalfa. I had no idea that it was a highly inflammatory food and can really affect people with lupus, cause them to have flares if they eat too much of it, like on your salads or on a sandwich. A lot of people put it on sandwiches, on top of bagels. It's really alfalfa is really bad for us. So we really have to look at the ingredients of things to see what kind of hidden ingredients there are. I mean, someone might not even know that there was alfalfa in a cracker, for example. That's why it's so important for us to look at the ingredients of things to make sure that it doesn't have in it hidden things that we wouldn't even think would be in it. When I first went gluten-free, I was shocked even at candy that had gluten in it, such as like Twizzlers. I had no idea that had gluten in it. And my daughter had gotten some, and I thought, oh, I'll have a Twizzler or whatever. And then something told me to just look at the ingredients, and I was shocked. I could not believe that it had wheat in it and flour in it. I was really surprised. So we really need to be looking at the ingredients of things, even the amounts of sugar, the amounts of additives and preservatives. The least processed amount of food that we can eat, the better, because we should be eating whole foods, foods that are not processed, they aren't tainted, organic as much as we can, free of pesticides, even our meats free of antibiotics, hormones. If we can eat local and find farms around us that are supporting that type of lifestyle, even their meats grass started and grass ended is the best way. So lots of research going into what our food is the best thing for us so that we know what we're putting into our bodies, because really I do think that is what one of the hugest problems in the world right now is our food and all the processed foods and the way foods are grown. It's so important to know where our foods come from. So I just wanted to tell you about some anti-inflammatory foods. Green leafy vegetables are great source of protein, iron, lots of vegetables, bok choy, celery, beets, broccoli. Broccoli is one of the only vegetables that has almost all vitamins in it, and our bodies absorb it very well. Turmeric, great for inflammation. You're hearing a lot about turmeric right now. A lot of different wraps, different foods are adding turmeric in it for the anti-inflammatory properties of it. Blueberries, all berries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, amazing benefits, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory. Even people with diabetics, very helpful because they're so low in sugar. They've even been shown to reduce blood sugar. So it's a great fruit. I have blueberries, some kind of berry every morning with my breakfast. I look forward to it. Pineapple, salmon, but you have to make sure that it's wild caught salmon, because if it's farm raised salmon, you could be getting a lot of preservatives, chemicals. You really don't know the types of additives that you can be getting with salmon if it's farm raised and not wild caught. Bone broth, Of course, if you're a vegetarian, you're not going to have the bone broth, but it is an excellent anti-inflammatory. It's really good for gut health also. Ginger, walnuts, coconut oil, chia seeds, flax seeds, green tea, an awesome antioxidant and anti-inflammatory also. Black beans, chickpeas, split peas. I had mentioned already dark chocolate and cocoa. Red peppers, orange peppers, yellow peppers. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Extra virgin olive oil, tomatoes, spinach, whole grains, but they're specific whole grains. So we're talking brown rice, quinoa, millet, amaranth, garlic, eggs, and yogurt, and even dairy-free yogurt. Now you can get it. When it first came out, you couldn't get it with the live active cultures in it, but now you can. I've gotten some almond yogurt with the live cultures in it, and also coconut milk yogurt. So there are also, which I'm sure that you heard of if you've read anything about the anti-inflammatory diet, is nightshade vegetables. So the nightshade vegetables are tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, peppers, and tobacco. A little note on peppers. it seems to be green peppers or what causes inflammation more than the red, yellow, and orange. A lot of people that are autoimmune can tolerate the red, orange, and yellow. This is where the bioindividuality that I was talking about before comes into play, because some people can tolerate it and some people can't. So it's like going to be one of those trial and error situations. Another thing that I'm sure that you heard about with gut health was the prebiotic and probiotic foods. And a lot of people take probiotic supplements also. It is going to be in vain to take a probiotic supplement or eat probiotic foods unless you eat prebiotic foods. I'm really having trouble with that one, because prebiotic foods are the food for the probiotic foods. So if we don't have that food readily available for the probiotics, they eventually will die off and won't do their job. But they can't live without food, just like our bodies can't live without food. They can't live without food. So we need to eat prebiotic foods. So I just wanted to tell you about some of them. And some of them actually cross over with the anti-inflammatory foods. So prebiotic foods include apples, asparagus, bananas, bran, chicory root, dandelion greens, fennel bulbs. Fennel you can eat either cooked, like roasted is very good, or also raw. In the Mediterranean diet, we eat it raw, like as a digestive, and it's very mild. It has a very, very mild licorice flavor. It's not like very strong at all. Garlic, leeks, nuts, onions, lentils, again, the split peas, chickpeas, any kind of dried bean, seeds, shallots, cooked sweet potato, seaweed, Savoy cabbage, uncooked oats, and tiger nuts. Also, citrus peels, cherries, coffee, kiwi, tea, and walnuts. And there's also in food labels certain prebiotics listed. That's why it's so good to look at the ingredients to know whether your foods have prebiotics in it or not. And you will recognize these things when you go to look for them now. Acacia gum, arbenoise, inulin, galactulose, maltodextrin, wheat dextrin, galactolugulosaccharides, fructooligulosaccharides. Sorry, that's really hard to say. You don't really need to memorize any of these things or try to jot it down real quick, because I'm going to give Lupus and I some attachments that she could put at the bottom of this video, and then you'll have all the lists of everything, of the anti-inflammatory foods, prebiotic foods, probiotic foods, and also in the anti-inflammatory foods, I wanted to also add that there's certain fish that are anti-inflammatory. We already mentioned the salmon, also sardines, herring, mackerel, and anchovies. They're all considered anti-inflammatory. And also in the anti-inflammatory foods, we have the avocados, mushrooms, grapes, and I can think of like lots of different recipes to include a lot of these anti-inflammatory foods together. It would be like a powerhouse meal. So that's exciting. Like I said, the least processed foods, the better. The more whole foods, the better. If we can manage to eat either no sugar added or low sugar foods, the better, because sugar increases inflammation. So we have to try our best. We all have our little days where we have a little too much of this or a little too much of that, but it's a lifestyle. So if 90% to 80 to 90% of the time we can eat the way that we should in anti-inflammatory foods and those things that support our immunity, then that 10% of the time it won't really matter as much. Not that we should, constantly do it, but like I said, 10% of the time is okay, I feel, anyway. I just wanted to mention some foods that are known to cause inflammation, and that's refined carbs such as white bread, pastries, fried foods, soda, is a huge culprit because of all the sugar has it. Even diet soda is really not good for us. The best thing we can do is drink water. And if we don't like to just drink plain water, what you can do is get either a lime or a lemon or even an orange and slice them thin, put them in the freezer, freeze them, lay them out flat and freeze them so that they don't stick together in a bag. And when you pour your water, just put a slice in, and it really does change the flavor of the water. It's really delicious. Even sometimes I put cucumber or strawberries, whatever I have around. I just sometimes plop it in my water, and I really enjoy it, especially in the summer when you feel like you want to quench your thirst. It's great to just add those things into it so you don't feel like, you're missing out. Abundance of red meat is really found to cause inflammation greatly. Margarine, shortening, lard, all not good. So, like I said, every disease is caused by inflammation. So if we go back to that, no matter what it is, if you go back far enough, you found out it's due to inflammation. So I told you about prebiotic foods. I'm going to tell you about some probiotic foods. They include yogurt, kefir, traditional buttermilk, sauerkraut, tempeh, kimchi, miso, kombucha, pickles. There are 4 cheeses that are considered probiotic food, and they are Gouda, mozzarella, cheddar, cottage cheese. All kinds of fermented foods are good, great for your gut. Brined olives, sourdough bread, acidophilus milk. Apples are also a probiotic. They were listed in the prebiotic, but they're also a probiotic. Prebiotic because of their skin, probiotic because of the meat inside. And it has just been found that mangoes, which I love mangoes, are one of my favorite fruit. They have been found to be an anti-inflammatory. Very good. Actually, it's very good. It even been found to lower blood sugar. So I was really excited about that because it was always thought that it was very high in sugar and not good for people that were diabetic. So I was excited to see that. Of course, the more fruits and vegetables we eat, the better. Whole foods as much as we can. Now, I'm not one of those people that says that you should never have a treat or anything, because I don't think that's realistic. I think that intuitively we know what is good for our body and what we should be eating, and we know what makes us feel good. Again, it's trial and error. You have to see what works for you, because what might work for me might not work for you. And what works from your neighbor or your friend that also has autoimmune disease or lupus might not work for you. And a lot of it depends on the meds you're on too. Some meds you have to avoid certain foods. So it's an overall picture of your health. What you can eat, what you can tolerate, what works well for you and what doesn't. I am so excited to be a part of this Facebook group. I have loved every minute of it so far. Lupus and I has done a great job to bring a lot of information to us. I think it's a very supportive community. I love how there's a mix of people that are newly diagnosed and people that have had the autoimmune disease for a long time. I really feel like we tried to help each other out, and I'm very grateful just to be a part of it. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.